Welcome, adventure racing friends. I'm Heidi Muller from AR World Series, and today I've got a very special guest. I'm speaking with Santiago Lopez, and he's sitting in the Andes range. He's just been telling me how beautiful it is, and in Quito, the capital of Ecuador. Is that correct?
That's correct. Hi, everybody. Hi, Heidi.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Very, very well here in the social distancing time, and happy with the plans for this year.
Yeah, it's soon. So, adventure racing friends, the reason why we're having the talks today is Santiago is our first race director. He's going to have the first adventure race for the 2021 series. And his race is in December, and we're going to get to that part just right now and tell you more about why you should go and do this race. But we're going to first start and just give you a little bit more insight of this wonderful man sitting in front of me. We've known each other now for so many years, and sharing the love for adventure racing. So Santiago, let's start by friends. I'm going to try to pronounce his race because it's been now 4 years that I've been struggling, and he's going to tell us now about the meaning of his name and where did it all start. So I'm going to try my best. It's Huairasinchi.
Yeah, you did it right. It's Huairasinchi. And yeah, and it's a Quechua word that means the strength of the wind.
Yes.
So it's very profound. It's very interesting. We took that word from when we were starting Huairasinchi in 2002. We were planning the first race, and we were in the high up in the mountains, and there was a lot of wind during that time of the year, but a lot of wind. So when we came back and we were thinking about the name, it was very obvious. It was the strength of the wind. So we decided to put it with the Quechua name, which is Huairasinchi. It's actually pretty difficult to pronounce, but a lot of people here in Ecuador and in other places call it just Huayra. So it is here, the Huayra.
Huayra. That is beautiful. It's like, I should remember that. It's just because it starts with an H. It makes it difficult for me to obviously pronounce it. Huairasinchi. Oh, Santiago, when you speak to people, and especially when you see race directors, and when you come and do their races, you never really get to know them. I always get the idea that when teams come and do people's events, they say hello and bye, and they're sort of a little bit on the distance. It's like they're a little bit scared of you, or they don't want to bother you because you are always so busy. And today's the opportunity where I would like to tell our racers out there a little bit more of you and give them a background. I mean, you're a businessman, you're a family man, and proudly one of the first and also the oldest AR World Series qualifying races in the world. And I mean, that is magnificent. You've done now 17, is that correct? 17 races?
17. Yes, we started in 2003. Actually, I was 23 years old. I'm 40 now. So yeah, I already spent half of my life doing adventure racing. Yeah, and we started actually. The first Huairasinchi, the first race came not as a business plan. It was not an idea to do a business with the race. It was part of the passion I had for the mountains and the love for nature. We saw not only the opportunity, but we saw that there was no adventure community in Ecuador. And we have a beautiful country. We have an amazing place where, the mountains are very close to us, and we have the Amazon just a few hours from here, and the coastline almost 4 hours, from where we live. So it's just everything so close together. We have all the world so close. And we decided to do Huairasinchi with the inspiration of Raid Galois. Do you remember the Galois? It was a very big French race, back in the 90s. And they came to Ecuador in 98. So they did one of the raid galhuaces here in Ecuador. They actually climbed Cotopaxi. Cotopaxi is one of the highest and the most magnificent mountains in the Andes. And they did climb it. I mean, in the middle of the race, they had to summit.
How high is it?
It's almost 6,000 meters high.
Oh, like Kilimanjaro,
yeah. Yeah, and it was teams of 5 people at that time, and I think that the rule said at that time that they had to be at least one person on the top. So they had to go with ropes and climb the mountain, which was amazing. So it was so inspirational for me. I was 18 years old at that time. So I saw that and I was like, well, there's a lot of interest of international people to come here in Ecuador to do this type of thing. Why we don't do our own national adventure race? Why we don't create a national, a very proud national community of adventure racers? So we started in 2003, and here we are, 17 years later, with with a race that continues and continues. And I can say that there have been ups and downs, and sometimes it's been very difficult, sometimes it's been very, very wonderful. But now I have 2 children, so they've been in the process. My little brother, which is only 12. What's that? Sorry?
Yeah, they're still small, 2 years and?
Yeah, very small, 2 and 4, 2 and 5 years old. So yeah, actually my wife was pregnant during the World Champs, which, it was in 2014. Yeah. So they've been involved in the whole process. And my brother, which is 12 years younger than me, he's been racing since he was 12 years old. Now he's 27. And now he's in the top 10 of the world ranking.
Wow.
Probably because of that inspiration of all these young people that were racing from 17 years ago.
Wow, it's fantastic. So it's a whole life of adventure racing, and like you say, the ups and downs. I think to our friends who don't know, yes, he mentioned 2014, the World Champs. And that is quite a big one. And I remember clearly those pictures. It was phenomenal. It was such a wonderful event. And I think the hardest part for race directors and organizers are, to still continue racing after a World Champs. Are you agreeing with that? I mean, to come back and to continue organizing races.
Sure. Yeah. It's something that is very difficult to do. Normally, because you put a lot of work for a World Championship. You work for normally 2 years for a World Champs, and then all these works come in a week of hard work with all the teams involved, and the race, which is alive. The adventure races come alive when you have the start, and everything comes alive. And after that, it's very hard to go back, to this rhythm of organizing the next year race. Teams are tired. International teams are probably not going to come back to your country because they did it, just a few months ago. So it is very difficult to come back from that. And it depends also on how the economics of the country and the region is. So we had luck. In 2014, the country was okay, and we did a great race, I think. And after that, we struggled a little bit. It was very hard to come back. We had to go to Colombia and do Huairasinchi in Colombia in 2016.
Yes.
And you know what? I believe that was the strength of the race was the community we built for so many years, because Huairasinchi is mostly raised by national teams and Colombian teams, which are very enthusiastic of the race, and they dream about the race, and they talk to other people, and they tell all the stories of their experiences in the past races. So everybody wants, they dream to race at least once in a life the Huairasinchi. So that's amazing, because this community makes us, to still alive and to keep, promoting and doing races.
Speaking to you, I can just see your passion, and you know what? That is what you need. Like you say, after so many years, to believe in your brand and in your product, and like you said, you've built up this massive, wonderful support in South America and with your national teams, and they keep on supporting you. And we would like to encourage the rest of the world and other teams to come and do at least everybody's races around the world, and that is the wonderful thing of it. But Santiago, over and above that, after in 2014, I understand what you're saying. To come back to a race and to pull up your energy and your work again is so hard. Over 17 years of expedition races. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it all. A lot of stuff have happened. What can you tell our friends at home, as a race director, what was one of your hardest parts, or most difficult races in this period, over this period? Hopefully not all of them, but the one you want to mention.
Yeah. Well, I think that in every race you have a moment where you think, well, what am I doing? Is this okay? And is this? Okay, screaming.
I can hear them. Wonderful. Yes.
Yeah. Even though I tell them, well, I'm gonna be this, but yeah, that's great. And it's always this moment where you think of, what am I doing? I'm not doing this. Why is the reason why I'm doing this? And then you have to come back to the real why. What motivates you to do this type of things? And I think that from the beginning, our motive, our why, was always to motivate people to change their lives through adventure. So we always say that we don't only do races, we try to change lives. We try to motivate people to change their lives through adventure, through going out and discovering beautiful places in the world and in the nature, trying to understand how nature works with people, and trying to promote the conservation of nature. So that motivation, is what you need to come back from these dark places and start working again, and to put all your energy to finish this, and to make all these teams to go through the race and to finish, safe and happy after these days of adventure racing. So we've been through a lot of difficult times. I mean, mudslides, river floodings, volcano eruptions. We've been through, even through not so friendly people. That you can, maybe some teams can encounter some not so friendly people in the way. Luckily, not so dangerous situations, because as an adventure organizer and as a race director, you need to think about all these possibilities when you are organizing the race, when you are planning the race course. So luckily, we haven't had any very risky situation, but there's always new things in adventure racing. And as an adventure, it's not only an adventure for the racers, but for the organizers. It's something that you need to work through every single minute. These things change all the time.
And it's never the same, because, I mean, every year you move to another destination or area, even though it's in the same country or not, doesn't matter, but it's never the same. Like, I found that it's always a new challenge coming along, or you can prepare for everything, and there will be always something that happens when the race is happening that you maybe didn't plan or foresee, and you have to make a decision on the moment on how to handle it. If it's good or bad, you can only go afterwards and rethink about it and say you should have maybe done it like this or that, like that. But because you must make the decisions and normally plans in the moment, you haven't slept, you are not maybe in a calm situation. It is very, very difficult to make always the right decisions.
You know what adventure racing has taught me is to be in inner peace. Try to be in inner peace to take good decisions in very difficult times.
Yeah.
You know, the race director is a problem solver, so we need to solve problems, you know, on the way, and to try to identify what is, you know, the risky place, where is the possibilities that are gonna come during the race, depending on the weather or, you know, any other circumstances, and then you need to plan accordingly to what you think is the best option for the teams, and again trying to make them, you know, happy and safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Now there's so many things. Like I said, you can actually write the book. You know, you like I said, you always go back to your true passions and reason why you do it. It's been 17 years of your life you've dedicated to the sport. We thank you for that. And I mean, you are one of the oldest adventure racers. You've had your fair share of problems and difficulties. And everybody must still go through that. If you're a new race organizer or old race organizers, you can never say, I've seen it all and I've done it all. And every time there will be a new element thrown to you. So for you to have endured and persevered for all these years only is a true reflection of your true passion for adventure racing. And I think everybody who knows you will, you know, can get that feeling of you that it is really a true passion. And yeah, like I said, we can't thank you more for giving your whole life for adventure racing, and the teams out there should really, really appreciate it. You know what, like you said, 2014 was also a great year for you guys. Over and above the world champs, I think I should mention to everyone, like those who are following the media now, that is where the whole story of Arthur came alive. And for those at home, you all know about Team Peak Performance. We've spoken about it. I think they came 10th on that year at the world champs. But not only did they finish as a 4-man team, they finished as a 5-man team, if you want to say it like that. And Michael obviously adopted Arthur, and hopefully in the next year we're going to have a great movie out about this wonderful story of, you know, just the soul of adventure racing. You know, we didn't only look after team members to bring team members over the finishing line. We had compassion for a dog, for an animal, and hopefully that will also be great exposure for adventure racing. And of course it happened at your world champs, so I think in all good spirit that will be awesome for the sport.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. For me, it's really interesting how this happened, and there's always dogs involved in adventure races. You know, adventure racers know that there are many stray dogs around the world, and they just follow you. I mean, it's their nature to follow people because they're lovely animals. They're wonderful. And this particular story was something different. I remember when Michael came at the end of this section. It was a very muddy and very difficult trekking section that they walked through, and they had a teammate that was very sick. Simon was very sick. So they finished this section and they were laying, you know, at the TA, and the TA captain called me and said, well, here's a team that wants to take the dog in the last section, in the kayak section. Can they bring the dog with them? And, you know, my first response was, of course not. I mean, it is too dangerous. Tell them that they, you know, they can leave the dog there and they can finish the race and then they come back and pick up the dog. That was my, you know, my normal way of thinking. So, you know, they had to.
I think I would do the same thing.
Normally. And it was a very long kayak section. It was actually a 20 or 20 something hour of kayak. So yeah, it was too much, you know, for bringing a big dog. Actually, Arthur is not a small dog. Arthur is big.
Yeah.
So it was very dangerous. But they say goodbye to Arthur. They cried. They started to paddle at night, and Arthur was just, waiting and seeing their team going in the kayaks, and suddenly Arthur just jumped to the water and started to swim behind the kayaks. So Michael had to stop, bring Arthur in the kayak, and start, paddling with him. There was nothing we could do, So they had to paddle with him, and they finished. Actually, they finished the race. A team of 5 members, and this was a big story just when they crossed the finish line already. But it was bigger because they needed to bring Arthur they wanted and they needed to bring Arthur to their home in Sweden. So media helped a lot to make that happen. And that's the story, that's the part of Huairasinchi story, which is amazing. It's coming to Hollywood next year, and it's gonna give us a lot of exposure. It's gonna make a lot of, fantastic, it's gonna give a lot of fantastic opportunities to not only to the World Series, but to the world community, to the adventure community.
Yeah.
Because
I hope you make
what we need.
I hope sure you are going to have a lot of interviews, hopefully, and you must just make sure you look all beautiful and ready for these interviews, okay?
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting year. It's something that I haven't dreamed about. I don't know if I'm gonna be involved in any way in the movie or in any of that process, but the adventure community is gonna be rewarded in some way.
Yeah.
Because a Hollywood movie is something that is very, very big, and it's gonna put adventure in the eyes of the whole world. It's gonna be the first adventure race movie. It's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be amazing. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for your performance.
That dog is awesome.
Oh. No, I've been following them on social media, and it's really wonderful to follow the family, and I see all the support from all the people around the world. And Arthur is such a beautiful dog, and I mean, it's beautiful. That's a story on its own, and it's absolutely incredible. And I'm so happy it happened with your event and with your race, and it could become it became such a beautiful story. Santiago, but listen, let's continue and tell our friends. Now they know a little bit more of you. They can see you're a wonderful father. We can hear the children in the background. You've got obviously an amazing race because people are returning to your events. So tell us, why must teams come? Let's start with December, and let's hope with all this travel restrictions and all these things that it will fall into place and start easing down, and that people can travel. Yeah. So let's say it's all good. Why should they come and do your race in December? Give us some information, dates. Just give it to us.
Well, they should come to Huairasinchi because it's a magical place. Ecuador is just unbelievable. It's one of these places where you come and you wonder, if it is real or not, because you change, from one place to a so different one in such a short period of time. I mean, you could be in the mountains and then suddenly you are in the jungle, in the middle of the rainforest, and then you can cross the Andes back and you can go to the coast, and just climate, weather, altitude, and obviously indigenous communities are just amazing. It's overwhelming. I always say that Ecuador is the diversity country, because you can really experience diversity. You can have a lot of the world in just a small race, and you can experience a lot of that in the race. That's why many racers ask me, well, how I can, what type of clothes I need to bring to Ecuador? And normally my answer is, well, you have to bring everything.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be in warm weather, you're gonna be in humid weather, dry one, and of course you're gonna be very high and probably with cold, maybe some snow. So yeah, it's gonna be the whole thing in just one race. That's why I believe that Huairasinchi is a great opportunity for teams that haven't come to Ecuador to experience this. And we do have a lot of teams that return, which is amazing. And they return, and normally they do because they they love the race and they want to do it again, which is normally the main reason. But in many cases, they didn't finish too, because Huairasinchi is pretty hard. It's not an easy race because of altitude and because of all of these changes. So they want to finish the race. They want to do better. And that's part of the spirit of adventure. You know, try to finish the race, try to do the whole course. And normally Huairasinchi has been a race that we organized in a period of 3 days, which is actually pretty hard too, because you need to race fast and try not to get caught by the cutoffs. Okay. So the rate of teams that finish the whole course is not pretty big. We are changing this for this year race. We're gonna start on Sunday and we're gonna finish on Thursday, which is gonna give all the teams one more day to finish. Yeah. Which it's gonna be amazing because we're gonna have more time for teams to finish, which is awesome.
Tell me, what is your predicted winning time again? How you always try to work it out between?
Yeah, it's gonna be about 65 to 75 hours.
Perfect.
That's normally the expecting winning time, but we will have the course open until 90 something hours, 92 I think. So it's gonna be much longer than in other editions of the race. Okay. So that's actually a good motivator for teams to come, because they can experience the whole race.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, they pay a lot of money to come, and it's wonderful if they have more chances and opportunity for everybody to get through most of the course. Tell us, Santiago, are they flying into Quito?
Yeah, they need to fly into Quito. Quito is 2,400 meters, yes, which is great for acclimatization. The airport is 2,400 meters, but you can go to Quito, which is 2,800. And then you have a cable car that can take you in a few minutes to 4,000 meters. Okay. So it's pretty easy to come, acclimatize a few days, and then we'll take you to the headquarters.
Okay. So for teams and in the race, because there's always a discussion, the altitude in your event, and we've spoken about this before as well. So teams who want to be more competitive, it's highly advisable that they maybe do arrive, 2 or 3 days before, which is anyway always a good thing when you travel and do an international race, because if your bags didn't arrive or if there's any problems. And then if they live in Quito, like you say, they can go up with a cable car, they can hike up, they can have a good 2 to 3 days of acclimatization before they actually move into the race course, correct?
Yeah, there's a couple of things they can do. They can come earlier, acclimatize, which is great because they get to know the country. They are sure their bags are here, their bags are here. But also you can train in, trying to train properly at home, even though you don't have altitude. There are many techniques right now. So you can just Google that and you're gonna find a lot of techniques of how to train for altitude, even though you live in sea level. It's not going to be the same, but of course you can get ready for a race, for an altitude race, training properly at home.
Santiago, tell us, in the race, then you obviously get them from Quito, you're going to take them to the race quarters. And what is the total distance of this race, around, approximately?
It's going to be 400 Ks, around 400 Ks. Normally what we do is we always have a high altitude section. Yeah. So this altitude section, we've learned that needs to be short. So it's going to be in a short period of time. It could be at the beginning, early during the race, or it could be past the middle of the race. Perfect. We've done both, and teams get used to, it's very difficult to get totally used to altitude, especially if you are up 4,000 meters. So normally what we do is to try to have small sections at that altitude and then make teams to go down so they can recover. and enjoy, the surroundings. Ecuador has beautiful mountains. I love the mountains, so it's probably the best scenario. The scenario I choose normally for the races. But also, even if you go to the rainforest or to the coast, you can have, this mountain range that surrounds this beautiful forest all over.
Okay, that sounds. I'm already convinced. Santiago, there's two things I think we always need to include in a race, and that's on the questions teams ask. Do you planning to have a rope section somewhere in your race if possible? I know it's not always possible, and for some people it's very important, and for some race organizers it's not as important. So is there a section in your route you think you can include a rope section?
Yeah, we normally include a rope section. I think that is part of the spirit of adventure race, but we've learned also that it's interesting to have a rope section that is included in the route. It's part of the route, not as a detour, but it's something that makes you go through the route.
Yeah, it must make sense.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like going, upselling something that needs to be upsell, so you can, go down to follow the path and continue the race, or to cross a river or something like that.
Yeah. No, it must make sense. It must not be like, I agree with you, like, everybody feels different, but it makes more sense in a race if it's meant to be there. Otherwise, you should maybe not have it.
It's much more exciting.
Yeah.
There's not any other way to cross the river, so I need to cross the road.
Santiago, and we spoke about that as well. Your kayaking, paddling teams need to know that they don't need to worry about pack rafts. The organizers, Santiago, that are supplying them with boats, so don't worry, everybody gets the same boat, and they can paddle. It's the normal boat you've always been using. It's like a two-man, you said, like a two-man plastic sit on top boat.
Yeah, sit on top boat. Pretty hard, pretty good. We've been using them for more than 10 years, and they are not 10 years old. We've been changing them. They are pretty good. I mean, they're solid and good paddle sections. I mean, if you go into a river, that can be even a class 2. They could be used even in a class 2 river. Okay. So it's good.
Okay. So teams, for those of you who are listening, I think Santiago has covered it all. I think we know it's in December he's raced. You must go out and check out his website with all the details. What I've heard from Santiago, this race will basically, you will see it all. You're going to see high mountains, you're going to see rainforest, you might see snow, you're going to have to pack for all kinds of conditions. But you can come a day or two before, you can see the beautiful city of Quito, you can acclimatize, go and do some beautiful tours and sightseeing. You can buy all the food you need in the city as well. So it seems to me that it is perfect, and Santiago and his team will look after you and assist you with wherever you want to stay before you move to the race HQ. Yeah, and I think this race, it seems to me, you're going to have great rafting sections. You're going to have awesome abseil or a traverse or some sort. He's got all the years of experience with him. They will look after you if you fall out of the race or you can't continue. Is there anything I've missed, Santiago?
Well, actually, you could travel pretty light too, because you can rent anything you need in here.
Okay, so you don't need to pay extra for extra luggage, because you can maybe rent your thermal jackets or waterproof gear, or maybe the heavy stuff you can rent. Anything
you need. I mean, there are many adventure race teams in here. So if you get connected with the national community, they can lend you some stuff, or you can rent some stuff. Even you can rent bikes. I mean, pretty good bikes. Okay. Santiago, I want to ask you one more thing. Like in the route, in the course, it's flowing.
Is it going through villages, or like you spoke about your ethnic groups, and you are so proudly, I can see, for your country. Like, will the people encounter some local people on the route? Is that part of the route?
Well, yes, you can travel through many villages. I don't know how it's gonna be in the next months, because probably we will need some social distance still, until there's the vaccine, this is solved. But we normally go through communities. We normally go through indigenous communities, a lot of ethnic groups, which are very friendly, and that's amazing. There are some places where people speak only Quechua, and it's great to get in touch with them, and they are very friendly. They give you food, and they give you the directions if you use the hand language.
Improve your Spanish. Or what?
Improve your Spanish, or the Quechua. But that's something that is very, very unique and very beautiful, from Ecuador, to get in contact with these communities and to work with them.
Santiago, my last question to you is, if there's any volunteers around the world would like to come and help you at your race, are there options for them to sign up somewhere or to contact you as well? Are you open to?
Sure, yeah. We've had many volunteers from Jose Pires. I think Jose Pires came here like 3 or 4 years, and he's the man. And
yeah.
many other volunteers that have come to Ecuador, and they can experience the race, they can experience the country in a different way. So of course, if they want to come, please do it.
Wonderful. So guys, it seems to me that he's got it all covered. Like I said, I'm convinced. I haven't been there, so maybe I should pack my bags and come and visit you guys in December. But it seems to volunteers, you're open to come in and go and experience the country and go and assist in the race. Santiago, I know that you will put an excellent course together for the teams. And we can only hope that in the current situation, everything will get easier, and we wish to you to have a wonderful race. And like I said, the first race and the first qualifier, and I hope it will set the benchmark there for the rest of the year and all the other race organizers to follow. And from our World Series side, we just really wish that all the races are going to be a great success, and our teams will come and support you. And yes, so all the international teams and volunteers or media who's listening to our conversation, don't be afraid of this wonderful man, Santiago. You might look, busy when he's doing a race, but he's very approachable, and you can ask him anything and go and support him and his wonderful family with their race for so many years. So Santiago, from our side, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Heidi. It's been a wonderful talk, and I really wish a lot of people can travel again and to experience, nature again. Nature is waiting for us. This pandemic has been hard on us, but nature is resting. The playground is right there for us to take care of it and to enjoy.
And I do believe that. I believe our adventure racing family, we are resilient and we all love traveling. And that's why they've been racing all over the world. So yes, nature and adventures waiting for everybody. So all the best, God bless, love to your family. Good luck with your organizing team, and God bless.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.